Hi guys, welcome to Chris Horner's Corner. Here's another how-to video, and today we're going to do it on the saddlebag and why it's so important. Now, throughout my professional career, it's very important for me not to be losing training days. So I can't afford to be out training, get a flat tire, have a mechanical to the bike, and then lose a day of training. It's definitely detrimental to the training, and it messes up your whole day, messes up the flow. It can mess up your whole week, believe it or not, when you're really training at the top of the levels. I know a lot of guys right now, a lot of you viewers watching this at home, maybe you can afford to go out and have the flat tire, grab an Uber, get back home. But if you're really looking at keeping your training as sharp and your fitness really at the top level, you can't afford to be giving up training days. And most important, if your rest days come in the next day, you want that training day to be finished so you can really enjoy the full rest day the day after and you don't have any interference. Versus if you say you go out and you're doing an hour training ride, you get a flat tire, now it's messed up your rest day, which would have been tomorrow, now it's today, but you've already ridden the bike some. Maybe you haven't been able to go out and enjoy time with your wife or husband or something. So the training bag is really essential because it's what keeps you on the bike when you have a mechanical, and it's what gets you home and it doesn't mess up your training. So let's take a shot right now. Here's my saddlebag. This will carry 2 tubes because you almost always at times will get double flats, especially when I was training in SoCal and it's the springtime and the rain starts coming, it washes everything up onto the road. It's really often that I will get double flat. So I always like to carry 2 tubes. One other thing, this saddlebag is one of my favorite in terms of sizes and stuff. The brand doesn't matter to me really, but just the size of it so that it doesn't rattle, it stays tight. The full strap underneath here, I use the long strap for a reason. Sometimes you see the saddlebags, they'll come down on this side and come down on the other. I like the full strap, a wrap around, because I could throw my pump here too. And that way there I don't have to have the pump on the bike. The old days, we always ran the Silca pumps. Those were beautiful. Actually, now that I'm not professional, I probably wouldn't mind running a Silca pump one of these days again. But for now, I always run CO2 and run my little frame pump. I'll take the saddlebag off. Normally, most saddlebags come with this strap right here. I don't like this strap. I left it on here right now just to show you guys. I'm going to cut it off because what happens, this strap always at some point in time will grab your leg, your short bibs will come back here, they'll touch the thing, the Velcro will grab your short bibs, and then it'll start to tear your shorts. So I always cut this off, left it on just for you guys, so we're going to cut it off right now at the video so you guys see what I mean. Also, the back of the saddle back here has a loop, so I can always put a reflector back here or a light or something if I'm caught at night. I know we can run them down here on the post often. Before, when they weren't so popular, I just pop them here, especially when I was training in Italy and you're going through the tunnels. You just throw your reflector light right here, flasher, so the cars can see, and it's in a really important area. So let's pull the bag off. And this is what I got right here. So one little pump. I have the tape around here because it keeps it from vibrating stuff. It's just duct tape. You just pull that off if you get a flat and you really need to use it. But right now that keeps this thing from spinning. If it does spin a lot from vibrating on the road, this will actually just wear off. It'll make noise, and sometimes you actually can have the pump come apart. So this keeps it all together and keeps your bike that much quieter. All right, so we'll go to the bench. What do we got here? Bag and pump. Let's go ahead and weigh it out so you guys understand how much extra weight I'm carrying, because we all know as cyclists we love to keep the bikes as light as possible. This is set in pounds right now, so I'm going to weigh the bag and the pump together so everyone at home knows exactly how much weight I'm carrying, because there are tools in there too. So we're at 1.61 pounds, so we'll weigh it here in kilos. Let's get it on there. We're at 730, so we're not even quite at a kilo, of course. We're looking really good. The weight's acceptable, right? So let's take that off, and now let's look what's inside. So we got your mini pump. Try not to use this really. Inside the bag, first important things are going to be your tire levers. Now the tire levers, if you notice right here, I always carry two because it's pretty, sometimes you need two. Most of the time I can do it with one, but sometimes you'll break them because they're plastic. And of course, if you break it, then you got all kinds of different problems. Now you'll notice this one is wrapped in duct tape, and I'll show you exactly why. It's always important. I always take my tire levers like this. You wrap it up in some nice duct tape. Make sure you get quite a bit of it, okay? Roll it up. Every tire lever should have a little bit of duct tape, okay? You can always use some duct tape. And I'm going to show you why here right away. So, that's how you prepare your levers right there. So each lever has duct tape wrapped around them, and I'll show you why. This is super important all the time when you're training. It's going to get a little loud, but what the duct tape's for, right there. Okay, so now you got a cut. I'm going to make it even a little bit bigger for the video too. Look how big that cut's going to be, all right? Now we've all gotten these when we're out training. It's really common. So the trick is, how do you fix that and you get back home with just the tool bag that's on your bike? Okay, so we'll pull that. And now, here's what the duct tape's for. This is super important, folks. Otherwise, again, you're going to lose a training day. You're going to lose a training day for no reason, because you can fix that enough to get you home, okay? You can continue your ride. I've ridden on it for days and stuff, but usually, you know, here's your hole. So you got a pretty good sized hole there. Flip it over. We'll set it on the bench. Grab your tire lever. We'll pull the duct tape back off. This is a great trick to get you back home, okay? Because again, you don't want to lose your training ride. Take the duct tape, find the hole, there it is. Throw the duct tape, nice big piece like that. Throw it over there, and now you can put it back inside. Air your tube back up, and that will hold it. If you got a really good sized cut like that, I actually even carry a spare piece of tire. So if I have to, I can even throw that in there if the hole gets bigger. Most of the time the duct tape will work. Sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 layers of the duct tape to cover that hole. That will get me home, no problem. I could ride another 100 miles on that, no problem. Usually run probably 80 PSI instead of that 110 that you would normally run in there. But that's a great little trick to get you home when you have those flat tires. So keep that in mind. That's why I'm running 2 levers, both with duct tape wrapped around. Spare piece of tire in case it gets really crazy, the cut's really big. Okay. Also, I wrap up separately is my tool, multi-tool in here. This will get most of the stuff on the bike. This one here is actually made from Park Tool. It's a 1B2. They custom made it. They even engraved it with my name on there. So that's pretty cool. But you got the flathead, you got your Torx, your Allen keys, your big 8mm for your pedals and stuff like that. That usually gets just about everything on the bike that comes loose that I missed when I was tuning up the bike at home. Okay, so personally I always like to carry 2 tubes. It's not common to flat twice, but it's definitely not rare. Normally what the cause is whatever gave you the first flat is probably still stuck in the tire somewhere and you just missed it with your hand. So you always want to make sure you rub inside the tire like this. Try to catch something with your fingers. You'll feel it if it actually punctured through the tire. While you're rubbing the inside, you're checking the outside too to see if there's something stuck in there. If you got a second flat, most likely something was stuck in there. Okay, so we'll put that back. I run the tubes always in a Ziploc, and the reason why is you don't know how long you're going to have this tube inside your bag vibrating inside there. What happens is when it's vibrating, everything inside your bag right now, all this stuff right here that's in there, that's squished tight, is vibrating the whole time, so it's trying to wear through your tube. If you wrap it in a Ziploc bag, that will protect the tube. Also, inside the Ziploc, I run some extra baby powder to keep it smooth and soft so it doesn't get sticky and the tube won't stick to each other when this tube starts to get old, I can run this for 10 years basically like this. I have ran some for 10 years. And what happens is if you don't have the baby powder on there, the talcum, they'll stick to each other and it'll actually bond, and then when you pull it apart, you'll have a hole in your tube. Or if you don't have it in this bag, all the tools in the bag are rubbing on the tube like this, and it'll wear a hole. You'll go in there and your tubes that you've carried for 6 months now are flat. So run them in a Ziploc bag, little baby powder. It's a fantastic way to protect the tube and keep it there so that when you need it, it'll be usable. Also, now this is just me being a little extreme, I go ahead and set the tubes up and prep them with the valve extender on there because I never know for sure which wheels I'm running. If I'm running the deep dish like these on these particular night wheels, I know it's going to work. Also, a lot of my friends, when I'm training partners and stuff, guys from the team, if they flat and they're running deep dish, even if I'm running the shallow 35s on my bike, which I prefer to run, but if I'm running the 65s and stuff, then I like to have the tubes already pre-prepped and ready to go so I don't have to waste any time on the side of the road. I can change a flat tire, and the amount of time it takes to get stuck at a big traffic light, I could have a flat tire changed and ready to go if my bag is already prepped like this. So, not just one, but 2 tubes, of course, inside there. Your pump, 2 tire levers like we discussed already. I run 1 patch kit in there. Most of the time, this is so old, it may or may not even work depending on if I forgot it, but I like to keep 1 patch kit in there just in case. Works good. Sometimes you got people running different size tubes or wheels or something like that, or I just happen to flat more than twice, you got a patch kit. Okay, 2 CO2s, important. You already saw my special tool. Now, inside the bag, also, this is important. Okay, I run 2 valve adapters for the CO2s. I've actually had these things just fall apart on me, so then I run a second one in there. It doesn't take up much space, and let's face it, it doesn't weigh much either. This is really the secret, and a lot of guys don't run these. Inside this little bag here, this little Ziploc, I have 2 valve extenders, okay? One works for the old style. I don't have to take the valve off the tube. So this style here will run straight over this valve adapter like this, and it'll get you home, okay? So if somebody else is running the wrong size tubes, I got this. If I happen to forget to have packed my flatted maybe that week and forgot to repack it properly, now I can still get home on a normal short valve stem tube. I can still get home or help someone else. I prefer these though, where you take this off and you slide it in. This is my preference, so I keep both. And I like to run a couple of the valves right here, so you can actually just add new ones if something happens, and my valve stem remover, and that will actually tighten up the valve extender too. So that's how my bag is packed. Basically, I'll set this up there. 2 tubes, 2 CO2s, 2 CO2 inflators, 2 completely different type of valve extenders to work on both kind. My tool to put the valve extender on, my Allen key, multi-tool Allen key, and of course my pump. And don't forget the duct tape. Don't forget the duct tape. It's very important. You will use that duct tape. It will get you home. So that's what's inside my bag. You got the weight of it. You see how it's set. Now also, as I told you at the beginning, remember this part here we spoke about. I always hate these because they're just going to catch your leg. So cut that right off, okay? There you go. Get rid of that. You don't need that, okay? So you set everything back in the bag. We'll cut the film here and I'll show you what it looks like when we set it all back in. Okay, so now you guys have seen everything that's inside my saddle bag. There's a way that I like to pack it. The whole reason for that is that it keeps the rattling down and keeps it limited, but it also, I know where the tools are each time, so if something is missing, I'll know right away. So I pack it the same way every time. It's my system. It's the way to really get the best out of your training and to keep you riding your bike, your system needs to be the same. So if something is different, you know right away. So it sounds small, but it's really important. 2 tubes, 2 long stem valve tubes, both wrapped in the plastic. Throw them in there first, okay? Now I throw the patch kit in at the bottom, and the reason why it's at the bottom is it will keep right here where the saddle on the post here, where it's rubbing on the post, when this goes underneath, it'll keep the plastic there instead of when I throw in the CO2s. If these run down, they'll be tapping on the seat post like this your whole ride. So you run your plastic patch kit box at the bottom so that these can't actually hit this post and be bouncing around. Now we'll throw these in like this. And the whole reason, there's a reason why they're at the bottom like this too. When they're at the bottom, they're going to spread apart like that, and they're going to create a little concave section, and that's where the pump is going to sit and push into that concave section so the pump stays in place much longer. Okay, so we got the 2 CO2s in there. We've got a little pocket right here where you're going to run your valve stem extenders. Throw that in there. We're going to throw the tool inside this handy little pouch. That's just protecting it so that the metal is not rubbing against your 2 brand new tubes, because you want your tubes fresh, right? So you're going to send that in on the side right here. And that pouch is going to protect the tube so it's not rubbing against it. Both tire levers with your duct tape on them will slide in at the top just like this, and you'll see how they curve, right? They're going to curve and flow right here with the tubes. So when you unzip it, you're going to pull out one right away and pull out your tube, and then you're good to go. Your extenders here will slip right in here. Okay, no problem. I'll put the spare tire. I'll slip it right. Actually, I'll pull this out, and I'll slide it into the tool. Like that, you get a little bit extra protection. Slip that in there. Okay, now everything's all set. Now you want your bag tight like this, okay? You don't want your bag halfway full. If your bag's halfway full, everything in there is running around. So if you decide you don't like my system, whatever your system is of tools for carrying, you want the bag to be the exact size that you need. You don't want it extra, okay? So you zip it up, and you see how nice and tight that is. It's perfect for what I like to carry. Now when that thing's moving around, everything in there is held together tight, okay? We're going to throw it on the bike. Okay, you wrap it around. Leave it a little bit loose because I got to throw my pump in there. So you throw your pump. Remember, I duct taped the top here, the handle, so it can't vibrate loose, make extra noise, or actually fall off the bike. Okay, this is going to wedge, like I said, right in between the 2 CO2s that are in the bag, and that's what's going to keep it from falling off too. If you look, now see how tight that is, and you want it tight so that there's no vibrating, rattling, and banging on the thing. And if you notice, none of the CO2s are hitting here where it's going to tap on this, and I cut that piece off, the Velcro strap that goes around, I cut that off so it's not grabbing my shorts and then tearing and ripping a hole into a $200 pair of bib shorts. Okay folks, so that's it. That's how I like my bag. I've had it that way for 25 years. It's always gotten me home. Try it out, see what you think. Make sure if you like some extra tools or some extra clothing or something, you adjust the bag to the right size. If you like the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Chris Horner's Corner.